the sheriff for the city and county of Philadelphia. And I say her name, Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. This should not have happened, but we're here today. Let know that law enforcement professionals, real ones, not the fake made-up ICE, probably Trump's new army to attack citizens of the United States. Did you hear what I said? No law enforcement professional wears a mask. None. None. Those that come into our communities wearing a mask to commit crime, thank God for our district attorney, Larry Krasner, who say he's going to lock them up. And I'm saying now, we are not going to whisk you away for them to hide your identity, because when you do it there, you're getting arrested there. No whisk away for them to hide you. None of that here. None of that here. Law enforcement professionals do not shoot at moving vehicles. I'm not saying fleeing, because she wasn't fleeing. She was getting out of the way. Law enforcement professionals do not stand in front of moving vehicles invoking an action that is illegal. No, we don't. And so we stand here today with all those who stand against the made-up, fake, what you can call ICE, professional law enforcement. I don't call them none of that. I call them made-up, fake, wannabe law enforcement. Because what they do is against not only legal law, but the moral law. So I'm with the DA, and we will work with them. If any of them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you will not be able to hide. Nobody will wish you off. You don't want this smoke, because we will bring it to you. And the fake, whatever they call them, because I can't say the name, but the criminal in the White House would not be able to keep you from going to jail. Renee Good should be here today. And to her family, we are saying law enforcement professionals are not the ones here in this city that would do that.
She can bring the smoke, we'll bring the fire. I mean, bottom line is, her comments themselves speaks largely to her intelligence. So look, we're going to continue doing this job. I don't know who she is or why a law enforcement official who took a sworn oath to enforce the laws and protect her communities would not want to work with ICE, who are out there arresting the worst of the worst. We're taking public safety threats out of her jurisdiction, and not just taking them off the street, taking them out of the country. Because number one, they're here illegally. Number two, they committed a crime against U.S. citizens, some horrendous crimes. So like in Minneapolis, we looked at a number of the releases, a number of arrests we did in the last couple of weeks, and there's numerous people we arrested for child rape, child sodomy. We're making her community safer. So, you're welcome. So she can continue to attack, make all the threats she wants. I don't know what bringing the smoke means, but we're going to continue to bring the fire to those people who are public safety threats and in the country illegally. We're coming for them. We're going to keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to remove them and make that community safer.
Let me make this clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them. If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you.
And so we stand here today with all those who stand against the made-up, fake, what you can call ICE, professional law enforcement. I don't call them none of that. Because when you do it there, you're getting arrested.
My message to the sheriff is try it. Try arrest my folks. Let's see what happens.
I want to start with the ladies. Celeste, I'll give you the first word. What are your thoughts?
Thank you. So I think this is absolutely a complete misunderstanding of biology. Putting women in these positions really shows a dereliction of any understanding of biology, because women biologically and chemically are risk adverse. Now, this is not to say that women should not lead any profession anywhere at any time. I do believe that women have a lot to offer the society in many ways. However, in professions where there has to be an imposition of force, putting someone who's risk adverse in to lead and direct a profession where force has to be implemented is the stupidest idea anybody has ever come up with. So this woman is talking tough and is completely discredited by her sex, because nobody who's in the position of creating crime, and crime is a risk activity, is a high risk activity, mostly committed by men, because men are not risk adverse. So when you are putting these risk adverse women over men who have the ability to enact high risk, immediately they become discredited. Their leadership in their direction is discredited. And the society suffers for that, because people who live under that type of leadership live in far more dangerous conditions, because they don't have anybody who's imposing enough in their stature, in their demeanor, and I'm going to say it, by their sex, who can offer any kind of preventative measure. All they see is their mother, who they know will do anything to love them and to care for them and to divert harm from them. This is not the way to run a police force, a sheriff's office, or any place where the imposition of force has to happen. So this is a completely disastrous situation. I feel bad for the people of Philadelphia, because what they can guarantee is that there will be more crime and more mayhem, and their quality of life will go down as long as this leadership is in place. And broader than that, I think as a society, and I know we don't want to do it, but at some point we are going to have a serious conversation about what gifts and good outcomes and results we get from having women in leadership, and then also what bad results we get from having women in leadership. We have to stop this wholesale idea that anyone, regardless of sex, qualification, and any other metric, can do anything. That is not true. Maybe anyone can do anything, but what we want as a society is to select people who are best suited. Women are not best suited for every activity. Even if they can do it, it doesn't mean they're best suited. And we should be working and striving to select, specifically in positions of leadership and specifically where there is risk involved, the person who is best suited. Nobody wants to go in a plane and have somebody who can fly No, you want someone who is best suited to fly. Nobody wants to lay on the operation table from someone who can operate. You go to your doctor and say, "Can you do it?" And they go, No, you want the person who's best suited to do it. And
Amen.
so we have got to stop saying we're going to get anybody who can and start advocating for who is best suited. And if in some cases, maybe many cases, it's not women, so be it.
I'm right there with my sister Celeste. I 100% agree with her. That's why we don't appreciate these DEI hires, because she knows nothing. That lady said that law enforcement doesn't wear masks. I'm sorry, what does SWAT do? I am sure I've seen SWAT with masks. So what is she talking about? She sounds insane. And when did they just hand you this job? Because really, why are you here? You know nothing. I don't know why you're up there even speaking. And you sound ridiculous. She wants to play that say her name bit. Ladies, sit down. You're supposed to be standing with your law enforcement officers to say they're not real police. So again, what is she talking about? Again, you don't just give somebody a job just because they fit a certain quota. That's why DEI is a problem. You want the best of the best. And this, again, I agree with Celeste. This is why a woman should not be leading something like that. Unless you have the cojones of Tulsi Gabbard or Christy Nome in them, you shouldn't be leading it, because clearly your emotions is too tied up into this. You sound ridiculous. And the other thing I just want to point out, the word says everyone must submit to governing authorities. For all authority comes from God, and those in positions of authority have been placed there by God. So anyone who rebels against that, they're rebelling against God. And literally, that is what they're doing, because as somebody put in the comments, and I 100% agree, in 2020, none of us were out here losing our mind after the election. We were like, you know what? We got Ice Cream Joe, Auto Pen Joe, and we sat down there for 4 years with Auto Pen Ice Cream Eating Joe, and we suffered through it. And we said, you know what? When it's time to vote, we're going to vote, and that's what we did. This is what over there need to sit down and do. This is who y'all have. Sit down, shut up, and take what you got to take, because at least Trump is making America better. I don't know what Auto Pen Sleepy Ice Cream Eating Joe was doing. So people need to sit down.
I want to say this, and Dave, I want to get you in on the conversation. There's a stark contrast between Rochelle and the brother from Chicago. Stark contrast in leadership. And he actually explained and broke it down like, hey, if you do these things, X, Y, and Z, law enforcement sees that as a threat. And to be honest with you, if you did it to anybody, you try to box anybody in, they're going to see it as a threat. They don't even have to be law enforcement if you try to do that to them. Dave, I want to get you in there. And somebody in the chat, I'm assuming somebody from Maryland, they said, no, we're not going to send the lady to Maryland. Send her to Delaware. Trade her somebody in Delaware.
That's too close. That's too close. I need her 3 states away. So the third state, you go Philadelphia, Jersey, Maryland. Like, nah, she needs to go way away. Now, I need to break this down because there's a little bit of a misconception here. The Philadelphia Sheriff's Department only has about 5 duties, and very few of them have to do with law enforcement. So I don't know how it is anywhere else, but in Philly, they do courtroom and judicial security. They do prisoner transportation and custody. They do writs, warrants, and civil enforcement. They do sheriff sales and property auctions, and they protect property rights. That is it. So when Paula Blart Mall Cop gets up here and starts talking about what she's not going to do with the old black crypt keeper behind her and a dude with some type of kufi on his head standing there like, eh. And then the other thing, if you notice, the only person in the Philadelphia government that was anywhere near her was revolving door DA Larry Krasner. So what happens under this DA's watch? He came in saying, oh, I'm going to change things for Philadelphia. We're going to stop and frisk, and we're going to do this, that, and the third. And what he does is he'll arrest the criminal. The criminal will be out in about 45 minutes, right back up on the street. So you've got an ineffective top flight security of the world, big back, calling the press conference, standing next to a teeny tiny little man who nobody respects because he's not doing anything to prosecute the criminals to keep our city safe. This is not representative of what we're talking about. Matter of fact, you know what we need? Because let's face it, Brandon Johnson in Chicago is inept. He loves criminals. He loves immigrants. He hates ICE. So why don't we take her slack-jawed, big back ass and send her to Chicago? And you bring that Chicago dude to Philly to be our sheriff. Then we can win, baby. That's it.
I mean, she's just a complete clown show.
Come on.
I love what the director of HS said in the last clip. Hey, go ahead and try to arrest one of my guys and see what happens. She does not understand federal law. But frankly, the reason that she, in my opinion, the reason she's emboldened to even make some of these idiotic, ridiculous statements is because the DOJ and Pam Bondi have failed to do their job.
That's right.
They should have arrested hundreds of these fools.
That's right.
If you block an ICE officer, I'm sorry, you have two choices. You're going to get arrested or you're going to get shot. You better hope it's the former. But if they had started mass arresting these people a long time ago, and not just the fools out blocking traffic, but when these idiot politicians or anybody in authority gets up and says, my police are not going to assist ICE. Okay, if you're just going to stand, if you're going to stand by, but if you actually encourage your officers or people in your city to resist ICE, you should be perp walked out of whatever office you're in and put on trial. They should have been doing this to mayors, to city councilmen, to police chiefs for the last 6 months. If they'd have been doing that, this ridiculous fool probably wouldn't be up there saying what she said, because she'd have realized right up front, there are going to be consequences to my actions. I am an authority, and if I tell my officers to do this, if I say that we are going to arrest ICE officers for wearing a mask, they should, the FBI should walk into her office, handcuff her, and perp walk her right into a federal jail.
Amen.
That is impeding a federal officer. That is impeding a federal investigation. That is what they tried. That is what they locked up 1,600 people fraudulently, mind you, because they didn't actually do this for J6. They locked up 1,600 people because they trumped up charges for they impeded a federal facility. That's how they locked up pro-lifers. Right. Oh, you stood 50 feet away from pregnancy termination center. That is impeding a federally funded facility. You're going to prison. So I'm saying we should take the left's tactics, apply them with actual legal force, and start taking these people out. And then you will not have some of this tomfoolery. And frankly, it goes back to, I think some of these people actually want to destroy the United States.
Yep.
She just might be dumb as a box of rocks.
Listen, first I want to say thank you for playing those clips side by side. So here you have a video of a DEI hire suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, and you have a appropriate hire, a person who is qualified to do the job. And you see the way they talk and the way they act. This is good. This is the kind of stuff we have to put before people, let them see in broad daylight what the contrast is. Everything that was said here was right on point. This is the kind of intelligence that we have to keep putting to this clear irrationality. That sister should not have been at that job. She is clearly a DEI hire. She has no knowledge of that job at all. And that black brother, he made it clear that what the law says and how the law goes is the way things are supposed to be. And he made it clear that if you step out over that line, you deserve what you get. You cannot challenge a federal officer in that manner. That goes for anybody. Now, again, it's our responsibility to keep this before the people, because a lot of these people are being inundated with the crazy, and they're responding with the crazy by producing. And I'm going to end with this. Please pray for our brothers and sisters in Christ, because there are Christians who are professing Jesus who cannot see this. They are so dependent on liberal media for their news that they are being brainwashed, and they are repeating that brainwashed philosophy. And that bothers me. I can see a sinner who don't know Jesus, who don't have the ability to think rationally, but no Christian has a right or a justification for thinking or acting in that manner.
I want to hear from you guys, man. What are your thoughts on all of this? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family or buy your brother a coffee. That link's in the description box below. Appreciate you guys, man. And as always, keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.